Cricket media used to be pretty simple. Find your favourite newspaper, head to Cricinfo, and maybe a blog you like. Now just finding the best stories and writing is a huge challenge. You already have a job. You just want to read about cricket. Well, that is what the best of cricket is currently doing. They go out daily to find the newest cricket coverage and the best stories from any publication in the world. And when they can't discover what they want, they also hire some of the best writers to produce their own great stories. You can get the best of cricket via their website or on WhatsApp. They find cricket's best stories and give them to you every day.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 55 of the Crickpicks podcast. I'm Behram Qazi, who you can find at Def Mango on Twitter. With me, as always, to my right is Estelle Vasudevan, who you can find at Estelle_Vasude, the number 1 on Twitter. And today, there's no Jared Kimber. We've got Varun Alvaconda over here as his replacement. He's a very, very integral part of the Good Areas team. He's a stats guy, basically. Welcome to your Crickpicks debut, Varun. How does it feel?
I'm extremely honored. I think it's a great privilege.
Also,
easily the greatest moment of my life.
The shirts are coordinated as well. Varun is playing wearing Pakistan's 99 jersey, which has Pro Sports logo on it as well. And I'm wearing my Indian T20 World Cup jersey from 2024. And Estelle is just being boring.
Didn't get the
I would
memo,
have thought,
obviously.
Yeah. You should have worn your Germany jersey because I really like that one. But anyway, so for those of you who are new to Crickpicks, what we do on this show is that we take any generic cricket category and we draft our top 15 for that category in a snake-style draft competition. So the pick order goes 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. And sometimes we draft teams of 12 on this show, which is what we're going to be doing today as well. The topic or the task for today is to draft an all-time ODI Asian 11 of retired players. And Estelle Vasudevan has first pick. I've got a solid guess on where she will go with this, and I really hope she does. So let's see if she disappoints or not.
I'm pretty sure you're not going to guess who I'm going with. I'm going with a very, very safe option. I think he probably makes all three of our 11s. Wasim at as my number 8. And
I hate you.
bowler.
I absolutely hate you.
No, I figured if we all go picking, like, if Varun picks Indians and you pick Pakistanis and I pick Sri Lankans, it would be pointless, right? So I'll go with Wasim as my number 1. I think he's possibly one of the most, like, you can't dispute his pick in this 11, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to tell you guys. I do have the projected numbers.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is 502 wickets in ODI cricket, and no other seam bowler has more.
Yep.
It was his format, and Varun is wearing his shirt as well. Like, that's the shirt that we remember Wasim in. New ball or old, Yorkers, bouncers, short run up towards the end, someone who evolved with time. And yeah, easily, like, he had to be in the first 3 picks. That much I expected.
And, like, I mean, despite bowling in the early overs and in the death, right? He has an economy less than 4 in ODI cricket, which is pretty amazing.
I mean,
also he can bat, right?
Yeah, he's no mug with the bat. Solid option.
He can bat a bit.
he can whack a long ball. But, you know, I don't know if you guys have caught those YouTube videos or not, or some of that footage where he's bowling with the old ball and the opposition team needs like 50 runs in 20 overs and they're struggling. So that's kind of what I think about when I think of Wasim Akram.
I've definitely seen it. I think also just want to add that, like, probably his biggest strength is power play wickets, right? And those are the most important wickets. And he's really good in the swing. He's good throughout the thing, right?
Yeah, reverse swing, I think, is something that he epitomized in that particular era as well. And yeah, I mean, he's an absolute legend, definitely makes it. So that means that, Varun, you have pick number 2. And there's an obvious one over here which you could go for. There are 2 obvious ones. Let's see which one you go for.
I don't know if we're thinking of the same obvious ones. I just want to tell everyone that, like, Estelle was mentioning that we may be biased. I'm not biased towards Indians. I'm biased towards bowlers. So, like, if the picks seem a bit dodgy, that's where I'm going. So I'm going to go for an all-rounder first, though. I think he's one of the greatest ODI all-rounders ever. I think he definitely walks into this side. I'm going Kapil Dev as my first pick. Yeah, it might be a bit too early, but I think he was a fantastic ODI all-rounder. I think he was built for it. I think he attacked a lot. I think his bowling is pretty decent. Like, I wouldn't say he was a great ODI bowler, but like for a 5th bowler, is more than acceptable.
It's interesting you've gone Kapil Dev because, it's ODI cricket. And I mean, he has a batting average of 23 or 24 nearly, which is quite healthy. But what are his numbers with the ball? Yeah, 27.45 is his average, 253 wickets. Interesting pick. And I mean, I definitely like it because it gives us depth in both batting and bowling. But I think you have gone a bit too early. That's my
That's
initial.
fine. I'm good with it, right?
Those are my initial thoughts on this. All right, so that means that I have 2 picks in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm rather surprised that I've gotten these 2 players because I know exactly who I'm going for, and I would have assumed that at least one of them would have been taken by now. Varun is biased towards bowlers. I get that, but I'm just going to go ahead and pick probably the best or one of the best ODI batters of all time. He's got nearly 16,000 runs in the format, 5,921. He'll be opening the batting.
18,
as well.
isn't it?
What is it? No, 15,921.
No, that's Test cricket.
Is it? Oh, my bad. So 18,426. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes it even more enormous. I
I
suppose.
completely forgot to mention it, but it's the adjust. He has a projected average of 49 and a projected strike rate of 100 in ODIs.
That's crazy, man. And I mean, he's got 49 tons in the format as well. Someone who kind of revolutionized the opening batting position as well in the format. Sachin, Ramesh, Tendulkar. I'm wearing an Indian shirt, so I suppose it's apt that I pick him. And he will most certainly be opening the batting as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was a period in between where every time there was an ODI, you just assume that Sachin will score runs. Such was his aura. And he played in a testing time as well. Like, for all the Virat fans out there, I get it. Like, he's a match winner. He'll chase down a target. There's so much that he brings to the table. But Virat Kohli did not play the same amount of quality bowlers that Sachin did in his era. I feel like that was a much harder time to bat.
Yeah, it was definitely harder times to bat, right? Like one wide ball. Oh, sorry, Estelle.
No, I was
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to say that he's also, like we discussed it in a previous episode as well, about how like there was like a cultural revolution almost, right? With him, like there was a change in how people saw cricket in India. So I think impact wise, he is a great, and like you said, as much as I would have liked to have like Sanat Jayasuriya opening the batting, it's very, very difficult to leave out someone like Sachin, right?
I mean, we could still have Jayasuriya open the batting. It's a long draft, right? And I am actually headed to Sri Lanka for my second pick. Picks himself, really, arguably one of the greatest spinners of all time. It's between him and Vaughan. Some people pick Vaughan. I also usually go for Vaughan because he wasn't bowling on as helpful surfaces. But there is no questioning that Muthaiya Muralidharan makes this team, and he will be the off spinner. Number 11 batter as well, an animated one. That'll be fun. And I mean, you've got Wasim and Murali in the same team. Wasim has 502 ODI wickets, and Murali is the highest ODI wicket taker of all time at 534. And someone who literally, took the Dusra and completely rattled world cricket. Like, Saklan might have made it mainstream, but Murali was the one who perfected it. And I mean, the longevity was intense as well. 96 ODI World Cup, he won it. And then he was also playing the final in 2011. So really, I mean, I can't think of another off spinner who would make this team.
Yeah, it's tough, right? With the spinners, I feel like he's the obvious pick, particularly in Asia. Like you said, there's always that conversation between him and Vaughan, but there's no real other competition for him in the Asian region. And I feel like, it's also the journey and what is achieved through the game that puts him at such a high pedestal, because you could argue a team like Sri Lanka didn't really have that many match winners in a side that he played in until he came along, and he was lucky enough to play with a few others who came on later on. But to have that kind of impact was immense. Like you said, of course, conducive conditions, but still pretty phenomenal to get over 500 wickets.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this means that Varun now gets another pick, and let's see what country he goes to.
I'm actually, I think I'm going to keep going down the bowler route right until I can't anymore. So I'm going with Waqar Younis.
Okay,
great.
yeah, fairly straightforward.
I think it completely,
you've paired up
I think
Wasim
it completely
and Waqar.
deserves it. Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be unfair if he isn't in this team, I think. He's got, I think, over 400 wickets in ODI cricket. One of the greatest strike bowlers we've ever seen in ODI cricket, I think, without a doubt. I think especially once you take errors into account. So I think I was
Also, there's
looking
a
at his
really
adjusted strike rate is 25, so it's pretty good.
wow. And also, there's a really fun Waqar Yunus stat that not a lot of people know. So, just pulling out his numbers real quick so that I can have them in front of me. He has 416 ODI wickets in 262 games, sure. But one thing that maybe both of you guys don't know is that he has the most number of fifers in ODI cricket at 13. So, that's a pretty neat record to have. And now we've got two reverse swing bowlers, right? So good luck batting in the death against this team. It doesn't matter if they're two new balls. They'll find a way. Toe-crushing Yorkers incoming. All right.
Yeah,
Estelle,
that's me,
you've
right?
got the
Two
double
picks.
pick.
Okay. Let me go with the other opener. I'll go with
Okay.
Virendra Sehwag.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
you didn't go for Sanath?
Oh.
I had Sanath
No, I
in my
didn't.
team.
No,
Wow.
I
actually,
went
I
with
don't know.
Sehwag.
I
Oh, yeah,
actually think
Saidan
Anwar
could
was
have made
better
it as
than.
well.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Sehwag for, okay, if you look at the run scorers list, obviously Sachin's at the top with 15,000 plus, right? And then you've got Sanath with what, like 12,000 something. And you've got a lot of people between that and Sehwag. Actually, even TM Dilshan has more runs than Sehwag. But Sehwag he's averaging 36, but striking at 104. I think he's one of those players who could have a massive impact, right? Even, I mean, across formats. He's a guy who could have a massive impact on the result of the game. I think if there's any criticism or is there, I mean, maybe it's a mistaken kind of idea to have, but there was a lot of chat in the early 2000s that Sachin would get runs, but that didn't necessarily guarantee an Indian win. Whereas if Sehwag got 100, you're more or less, I don't know, statistically, it might be different, right?
Yeah. No, that was the notion.
Yeah, that was the
Definitely.
kind of feeling people had because he had such a massive impact. And I think, again, the reason I would pick him ahead of Sanath is that Sanath was a similar player, but I think Sehwag had a bigger impact in that, he would get the big hundreds, right? Both of them can bowl. So I think it was close for me, but I would go for Sehwag.
So I like this pick for a couple of reasons. One, that you've paired up Sachin with Sehwag, and that was a very successful opening pair. And like Sachin can be more measured, whereas Sehwag can bring in the belligerence. Jared loves to talk about this, that, a lot of people think that Sehwag's ODI career is a failed career. But if you look at the era and the fact that he's averaging 36 and striking it at better than run a ball, it actually makes him a very valuable commodity. So I like that bit. But I just feel like maybe we've missed out on a left-right pairing over here, right? Could have gone
Sorry,
with
I just wanted
Anwar.
to say a true strike rate of 34 in ODIs.
Yeah, so that's intense. And also tell viewers what that means, Varun.
So essentially, for the same over distribution that Sehwag has, he has a strike rate that's 34 better than that's expected. So, and
yeah,
that,
so
remember,
that's-
he's striking in the power play most of the time. So you already
Also-
expect someone to have a high strike rate, right?
Yeah. But
I
why
think
I would have
in-
personally... Yeah.
Sorry,
Complete
I
your
was
thought.
going to say, like, I'm just looking at the numbers on Cricinfo. Like, of the openers in ODI cricket from Asia, he has the highest strike rate in the top 50, right? So you add to that the fact that he has 7,000 plus runs. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not a bad pick. I'm just saying the left-right combo we could have
yeah.
used. I like the Saeed Anwar pick because he was one of the early ODI goats and it was a career cut short. But, there was a point where Anwar and Sachin were like head-to-head. They were going at the same rate in terms of hundreds and all that stuff. And he had the highest score in ODI cricket for like over a decade as well. But why I like the Sehwag pick over there is because, he's a misunderstood cricketer. So he does deserve that respect in this particular format. And yeah, I mean, pairing him up with Sachin shouldn't particularly be an issue. Personally, my pick would have been Sanath though, because he also gives you something.
Also,
with
I'd
ball.
love to have seen peak Sachin with peak Sehwag. Like I'm not talking like the accumulator Sachin, like the late 90s Sachin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, would have been absolutely amazing to watch, I think.
Absolutely. All right. So
All right. I've
another
got
pick for
one
you.
more, right?
No,
I'll go with I'll go with another batter. Since I might have angered a few people from Sri Lanka, I'll pick a Sri Lankan as my number 4, Aravinda De Silva.
Okay.
Doesn't have. I think if you look at like run scorers at number 4, he may not have the best record in terms of average and stuff, right? But I feel like he was the type of guy, again, like I said, spoke about Sehwag. He was the guy who kind of could turn a match around on his own, and he did end up playing a lot of those innings in important games, right? Any big finals Sri Lanka played in,
Yep.
don't forget the World Cup, but like other than the World Cup, which we all remember him for, and the World Cup final and the semi-final, there were also lot of other important games that he would kind of step up for Sri Lanka. So I feel like he would be, again, I think we've kind of picked aggressive players in this side so far. I think he'd fit that vein really well.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was a match winner. And don't forget the 96 final. I feel like that's a big one over there. And we've got a few World Cup winners in this team already. Sachin
Yeah.
Sehwag, Wasim, Aravinda. So I like where this is headed. It's interesting that you picked him ahead of another Sri Lankan great as far as batting is concerned, which I really thought you
I
would
will
go
leave
there.
for you.
Yeah, sure. But I don't know.
leaving for
Varun's going to go ahead and pick another bowler over here. So he's kind of like
Yeah.
selling a shot.
No, actually,
yeah,
I'm gonna
Aravinda-
like break away from that the next
Oh
one.
no.
Just for the record, Aravinda in his era was striking it above 80. He was averaging nearly 35 and he's got 9,200 plus runs. So it is a solid pick nonetheless.
Yeah, I think we also mentioned it in the piece, right? You have to remember he batted in the middle overs in the 90s
Yep.
and the 80s, and people like I find middle overs in the modern day ODIs insufferable. It was much worse in the 90s. So like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think if you look at his raw striker is much better than you would expect for like an average number 4. I think we found out it was like 10 to 15 better than almost everyone else for those positions.
Yeah.
It's just
That
that
is
like
crazy.
with his talent level, you would have expected him to average in the 40s.
Yeah.
And I feel like
but-
if he actually tried, he would have. It's one of those things where it's like you also have to mention that.
In our last Crickpicks, we were doing players who were better than the numbers, and he featured,
We
right?
picked
So
him,
I think you have a solid case over there. Anyway, Varun, go ahead and pick another bowler then.
Nah, actually, I'm gonna break my own rule for this. I'm going with MS
Okay.
Dhoni as the wicketkeeper
Yeah.
battle.
That's a good one.
Like because he's my favorite cricketer ever. I have to break the rule. Like I grew up watching him. I love him. He's the reason I support Chennai Super Kings. So like I have to pick him in this team. So his
he
record speaks
captaining
for
this
itself.
side?
We can decide that later. I think there's a few captains where we could probably
Few
pick, I think.
captains, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's
I
a few
think
captains,
he would
yeah.
probably win that battle. And this is someone who scored like over 10,700 ODI runs as well, and he
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
averaging 50 plus. He was an ultimate finisher of ODIs. And I mean, I remember that ODI series in 2006 when India toured Pakistan, and Pakistan would have won that series if not for MS Dhoni. He was that guy. He was the thorn in the side which Pakistan could not get rid of. And I mean, this man then went on to win every ICC trophy that was being played in his era: the T20 World Cup, the ODI World Cup, the ICC Champions Trophy, and no one has managed that.
No, but he didn't win the Commonwealth Games, right?
Yeah, no, he missed out on the Commonwealth Games.
So did he not win it in 2008?
Also,
2009?
he won the CB series as well, which
Oh, that's
wasn't
what I
as
was confusing,
straightforward.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
That's what I was
that
thinking
means
of.
I have 2 picks now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what the team looks like so that I know where to
Okay.
go?
So we've got the openers, Sachin and Sehwag. We don't have a number 3. We have Aravinda De Silva at 4. I'd assume MSD at 6. Kapil
Or
at
5, I
7.
think depends on who we go, I think.
Yeah. Kapil at 7 or wherever. Wasim Akram probably 8. Vaka and Murali. So
That's a
you
really
need
strong
2
looking
batters,
team.
I guess.
Well, I will make this interesting for you guys. I'll take Sangha off the table. He's my 3rd pick, and I have to pick Sangha because you guys are not going to pick him if I don't. I have that
I would-
weird feeling in my stomach. And this is a guy who, I mean, was
I mean,
an
if
absolute
it wasn't
mainstay.
retired players, I wouldn't have picked him. But since
Yes,
it's
yes, of
retired,
course.
I was about to say that,
wasn't
right?
retired. There was a really obvious number 3 pick if it
Yeah.
wasn't retired. But Sangha, I mean, was a behemoth at number 3, right? I mean, he scored 14,234 ODI runs. He's got 25 tons and he's averaging nearly 42. And I mean, he won't need to keep wicket in this team, but he could have. He's also a fantastic candidate for captain. And I'm just happy he ultimately won that T20 World Cup because he came so close so many times, like 2 ODI World Cup finals. And I feel like even though Murali is probably like the bigger cricketer, Sangha is the ultimate icon in Sri Lanka from what I know. And I mean, he's one of my personal all-time favorites. I met him at Lords and I couldn't, like, the words weren't coming out. And I was like, I
I think
thanked him for...
it's a generation thing. Like,
Is
I
it?
don't think people who are older, like people my age would say that, but
Hmm.
people who, I mean, Behram's not very much younger than me, but like, I think it's a
Yeah, I suppose
generational
so.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we also need a lefty up top, right? So if you've got Sehwag
That's
and
fair.
Sachin opening the batting and they're both right-handers, you need Sangha at 3. And I mean, it's runs guaranteed with this guy. Fantastic player of pace and spin, a cover drive to die for. And yeah, I'm just happy he made it. So final pick coming up for me. And we don't have like a leg spinner, right?
I knew it.
Yeah, so we have to go there. Of course, we have to go there. I haven't picked a Pakistani in this podcast, so let me just, end that or buck that trend. Let's go,
I
Shahid
would have
Khan
picked him as
Afridi.
well.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
to be in this team, man.
Yeah.
He's similar to Sehwag in the sense that people don't appreciate his genius. He's an absolute out-and-out match winner, and he's someone who,
100%.
as a leg spinner, he only got better with age, and he ended up with nearly 400 wickets, 395 to be exact. And 2009 onwards, for the next half decade, Shahid Afridi was unplayable. You could not cut him, right? That was Afridi basically, with all the drift that he got. And with the bat, I mean, he's giving you impetus times 10. Don't fall for the averages, right? He averages 23.57 in ODI cricket, and he has 8,000 plus runs. But his strike rate is 117. And Varun, maybe you can give us some true numbers over here to kind of further Afridi's case.
No, I
Because
did
I know
have
you
them.
have
I
them handy.
completely forgot when I lost it. Yeah, I did. I think I accidentally did like the entry points. And I can give you his adjusted numbers if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let's have his adjusted
Yeah, so
numbers.
in his era, he was 52% faster than everyone else for those
Wow.
positions. Okay. So his adjusted numbers would be an average of 25 and a strike rate of 130. That's not too bad.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty decent. And also, like, he was someone who, as much as he's known for all of his ducks, he would win you games which were unwinnable. That was Afridi in a nutshell. He was an absolute time traveler of a cricketer, far, far ahead of his time. And much like Sehwag, very, very underappreciated in the ODI format. So yeah, now we've got a pretty killer bowling attack, don't we? We've got Wasim Waqar, Murli, Afridi, and Kapil Dev. And then 12th man can also be another bowling or all-round option. Let's see where you
Yeah,
guys
where are
go
we
with
batting
that.
him?
Because I'm done.
Sorry, where are we
Yeah,
batting him?
Yeah, I put
We
him
can
at
keep it
7.
flexible. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can keep it
Okay.
flexible for now. If you
That's cool,
really
I'm
want to
cool with
like go left field, he can always open the batting with Sehwag as well.
Clean cheater.
What a combination
Yeah.
that would be. No, but we're not moving the greatest ODI opener ever
Yeah.
out of his position. Let's be fair.
Yeah,
let's
we
not,
can't
let's not
do
be
that
silly.
either. Yeah. And Afridi
Oh,
could
God.
do a fine enough job. In the
Estelle,
lower order
do you
as
mind
well.
reading the team out, please? Sorry.
Yeah. So we've got Sachin, Sehwag, Sangha, Aravinda, MSD, Afridi, Kapil Dev, Wasim Akram, Vakayunis, Murali.
You need a number
So,
5 and then
I
another
guess we
bowling
need a
option.
number 5, and we need a 12th. So my turn, right?
Now
no,
I feel
it's
I've kind of
Varun's.
That's mine.
yeah. I think I've
Yeah.
kind of messed this up
And
because I had a
I'm really
fantastic
happy
number
that
5.
it's me at the end.
Yeah, there's such a
I
fantastic
actually think the
number
top
5
7 is
option.
fine.
Yeah, in my
I actually
head.
don't mind the top 7.
Yes, but we need another batter in there.
I mean,
Nah,
Varun
I'm
might
going
go
with
pick
bowler.
another
I'm going to
bowler.
mess this up. I'm picking a
Okay.
bowler.
Oh,
I'm going
no.
Chaman Dawas.
Okay.
Ooh,
So we had a left arm quick already. I thought you might go for express pace over here.
interesting.
No, I think we have a peak Vakar. I think you have enough express pace there.
Hmm.
So I
Fair
think Vas is really underrated as a
Mm.
cricketer in general. Like he's again, I think he unfortunately played like a lot of his career overlapped with Wasim, I think, for a bit as well. And then he's also competing with Murli in the same side. So I don't think he ever got the limelight. I think he was a great bowler. Probably not. I don't think you would say he's an S tier ODI bowler, but he's probably just that tier after.
With the new ball, he was S tier, I would say,
Yeah.
and he also offers
That's
you
fair.
something
I don't
with
know,
the
disagree with that.
bat. Yeah, and I mean, he's got what 400 ODI wickets, right? At 27 and a half. So his credentials are solid. Although I do feel, Varun, he might have to be 12th man in this team unless you are resting.
I'm good with
Kapil.
that.
Yeah, because we've got enough bowling in this team already. I don't know. Like this means that Estelle now has to pick like a number 5
A
batter.
12th. No, I'm picking
yeah.
a 12th.
But
I'll pick a
but
12th.
Vas is in essence the 12th man over here because that's what Varun has kind of done
mean,
for us.
I mean, I would actually think if you are saying the top 7 looks like this, right? You've got Sachin, Sehwag, Sangha, Aravinda, MSD, Afridi, Kapil Dev. And then
Yes,
you've
but-
got Wasim and Chaminda Vas. So I mean, that looks like a good enough 7. I don't know.
I have this feeling that she wants to go for a bowler,
No,
and
I don't.
I
No,
have two very
actually,
solid names in my head, and if neither of those guys get
there
picked, I'm going to
there
be
will be
miffed.
honorable mentions. Okay, there will be
Fair enough.
honorable mentions.
Okay,
Okay,
go for it.
I'll pick pick a 12th, right? So
Hmm.
since we discussed him, and I think he can add with the bat or the ball, we'll go with Sanat Jayasuriya as
Hmm.
the 12th. So
Fair
that
enough.
if you want a left arm spinner, if you want to switch Vas out for a left arm spinner, and Sanat did start his career as like a lower order player, right? So maybe you can fit him in there, or if you're not going to change the openers, but if you like someone's injured, maybe he comes in right at the top there. Now you can tell us who you wanted at number 5, Behram.
I am hating myself for picking Sangha now because you would have picked him, right?
Yes, I would have.
And then we could have had my perfect team because Sanath eventually got picked, but the two guys that I felt should have made number 5, it was either Inzi or Yuvraj. You had to have one of those guys in this team, and I feel like
I was thinking
with
of
UV,
Yuvraj probably.
Yeah,
I think
with
I
UV
thought you were going to pick Yuvraj for the 12th man.
you could get a bit of like buffer overs from Yuvraj as well, and he is a World Cup winner. He was player of the series or man of the tournament, sorry, in that ODI World Cup. And similar with Inzi, the amount of impact and match winning knocks that he could provide at 5, and he's also a World Cup winner who played an integral role in '92. So those two guys I really feel should have been in this team, or at least one of them should have been in this team. And now we've just got tons of bowlers.
Uh, uh, I'd actually
not complaining,
like
ma'am.
to check with Varun on Arjuna's numbers, because I feel like he's also very much a underrated middle order bat, particularly early in his career. Yeah, people remember him as for his leadership, right, and like winning the World Cup and all of that. But I think in that era, the type of number 5 that you had, he kind of fit the bill. I would have gone with Inzamam personally, but I feel like he's also someone who should be in the conversation as a number 5 batter.
Yeah, so I have, Ranatunga's adjusted numbers as a batting average of 40 and a strike rate of 91.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. And what are Inzi's adjusted numbers? Because he was like killer in ODIs. He's got like 11,000 plus runs, and Pakistan
actually,
used
I
to
was
win
look-
games
some-
of ODI cricket.
It's not
when
as
Inzi would
impressive
do
as
well.
you'd think. An adjusted average of 42 and a adjusted strike rate of 86.
Okay, that's really interesting. So I guess UV and Inzi kind of miss out over here, and Saeed Anwar is another one who could have made it into this team.
And Miandad, right?
Perhaps Miandad is there. Perhaps Shoaib, right? Express
Yeah,
pace.
Shoaib. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
I
Shoaib.
mean,
I think he's a really good ODI bowler, I think. I think
yeah,
his
so
like late
those-
career ruins it a bit for him.
I
Like he probably
suppose so.
just played a couple of years too
Yeah.
long, I think.
And I think
yeah, I mean-
also it comes down to the fact that like you can't look past Waka Wasim, right? Also, Lasit Malinga, I don't know whether ODI cricket was his best format, but he's another guy.
He's one of those he was very dependent on the old balls. So the moment the two new balls hit, his record just kind of fell off a bit. He's one of those
Fair.
him and like Wahab, I think, were two who were like pretty affected by it. Yeah, I also think
Yeah,
an olden Goldie is a hit a bus in ODI cricket. For a long time, his numbers were very similar to Viv Richards.
Also, there's Imran, right? He can
Yeah.
rate
Imran
it.
Khan. Actually, if you didn't pick a free, I probably would have gone Imran.
Yeah, but we did need a leg spinner though. The team needed a leg spinner.
I think that's
I
fair. I
actually
can't
had
disagree with that.
Kapil or Shahid because I had like a stronger batting lineup, but
I think
Yeah.
that's.
I mean,
But I
either
think,
way,
like,
it's still a
Behram would know
pretty
this from my
strong team.
drafts and good areas at times. I like bowling.
yeah, absolutely. But it's still a pretty strong team. Estelle, if you could read out the entire 12 and then also
Yeah.
our picks individually
Yeah.
to kind of wrap this up.
yeah. So the 12 that we picked, Sachin and Sehwag opening the batting, Kumar Sangakkara at number 3, then you've got Aravinda De Silva at 4, Mahendra Singh Dhoni at 5, Shahid Afridi at 6, Kapil Dev at 7, Wasim Akram at 8, Chaminda Vas at 9, Waka Yunis at 10, Murali at 11, and Sanat Jayasuriya as your 12th. In terms of individual picks, I went with Wasim Akram, Virendra Sehwag, Aravinda De Silva, and Sanat Jayasuriya. Varun went with Kapil Dev, Waka Yunis, MSD, and Chaminda Vas. Behram went with Sachin Tendulkar, Muthaiya Muralidharan, Kumar Sangakkara, and Shahid Afridi.
pretty strong competition over here. I'm not sure who wins it. I do feel quite confident about it though. But it's up to you
Yeah, you got
guys to
Sachin,
let us
so-
know. Yeah,
You've got
I do have
Sachin,
Sachin.
yeah.
And Murali and Afridi. So those are all pretty popular players. And
I
Sangha,
do have
of
2
course,
World
as
Cup
well.
winning captains though.
That's true. But anyway, you guys let us know in the comment section who wins this and why it's Behram. And that kind of wraps up this episode of the Crickpicks podcast. Just a quick reminder, you can go to goodareas.co and bookmark that webpage, and that can prove to be your one-stop shop for all the work that we do as part of this team, whether it be written content, videos, or podcasts. We'll see you soon enough, or next week with another episode of Crickpicks. That's all for now, though, guys. Have a good week, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
It took God and the demon to build international cricket, but don't tell Johnny Best that. 1882, Australia had played 1 test in England against the god W.G. Grace, and they sucked. So they were playing him again, and it was a tough wicket. But England was in front, so Australia was desperate for a 3rd innings lead. At number 8 was young all-rounder Sammy Jones. After a routine single, he walks down to do some gardening on the pitch. Grace whips off the bails and appeals. The ball wasn't dead, Jones was run out. The Australians were furious. In fact, some of the English players were also furious. But what Grace said went, and the umpires had already given it. Next in was Fred Spofford. He was known as the Demon fast bowler. He was furious, and he let England know exactly what was coming next, which was maiden. There's 12 maidens. I can't count them all. England only needed 85 to win. W.G. Grace made 32. England only 77. That was the test where the Ashes began. Buy my book, Overthrowing Cricket's Empire, on Amazon today.